Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics Tuesday night Q&A ahead of round 7. We're recording live on Tuesday, the 22nd of April, and building up on a short week to round 7. Only a couple of days. Obviously, we had footy yesterday, and we've only got a couple of days until footy's back. So I'm not complaining. There'll be a lot of people there that are like, it's a bit stressful, short week, but someone loves footy just as much as me. And we are the Fanatics at the end of the day. So looking forward to it. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And yesterday we had a couple of guests on, but tonight we got the three of us. So we got my two fellow co-hosts in AFL Fantasy Fanatics is Tim Guesty Jordox, and we'll start with Guesty. Guesty, mate, how are you? How was the Easter weekend, and how did it treat you?
Mate, Easter weekend was awesome. I had my kids for 5 days, which is the longest I've had them since, all that kind of stuff went down, which is great. But yeah, I've got a 3.5 and a 5-year-old. So it was all very full on. I didn't get to watch anywhere near as much footy as I'd hoped. I certainly didn't get to, well, it was kind of good. I was distracted. I didn't get to watch my train wreck of a fantasy side on the weekend. And had lots of, good, wholesome, quality family time and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it was a really good long weekend. But Jesus, that weekend was a rough weekend for me.
Yes, we'll get into your fantasy weekend. We'll be able to get your scores and everything like that. And jumping on as well tonight. It was busy yesterday, but we got our other co-host, Jordox. Jordox, mate, how are you? How was the weekend? Probably good for you from a footy point of view with the Crowies getting the job done. But how was your Easter weekend, mate? How did it treat you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Family went away and spent time with my wife's family, and the kids all had a ball. And Easter was great. Everyone's full of chocolate and ratty as shit now, but that's okay because got to send the kids to school today, so it all worked out quite well. But had a great weekend. Was able to watch the Crows, which was great, and I feel good, boys. It's my team's not great, but it's only round 6, round 7. There is a long way to go, so It is a marathon, not a sprint.
You're telling me that we're only 6 weeks into this nightmare, or me and Guesty at least anyway. So, but I know that none of us are doing too great. But Josh, I'll go to you first because you're saying you're a bit up and about. But what did you score on the weekend, and what was your round rank and your overall rank?
Geez, you'd think I'd be prepared for these questions. I'll go with so I scored 1957, which I didn't love, but when the round ended, it felt like
top scored over me in Guesty. I'm pretty sure. So you top scored there.
There we go. That's something. But yeah, I was surprised that cracking 2000 was a bit harder than I guess I thought. But there's reasons for that. Overall, the weekly rank was nothing exciting. Overall rank, just squeezing up a little bit. I'm at 10,933. So if I can get within 10K, I reckon I'll be pretty happy, considering the start I had.
Yep, you're doing better than me, that's for sure. I realised yesterday, I said to people on the pod yesterday, I haven't had a top 10K weekly rank yet so far this season. I lied. I haven't had a top 15K week this year. My best was not this week, last week, got like 15,800 and something or whatever. So that was my best week. So it is absolute shit house at the moment. But Guesty, obviously, you're pretty much with me, mate, struggling. But how was your week, mate? What was your score? And I won't ask you round rank because I know it wasn't a great one. But what's your overall rank for you now?
Well, before I do give you my scores, one of the things I did forget about, just because it felt like it was so long ago, I actually got to take the kids to the Essendon and Eagles game on Friday night. So it was their first game of footy. Yep. So they only lasted a half, being so young, but that was I thought a pretty good effort on their part, and it was real. They all enjoyed it. It was really good to get them along. So that was a lot of fun. So I did get to watch some footy over the weekend, but I scored an 1878, and look, it was really disappointing. I feel like I've made good trades consistently for 4 or 5 weeks, after fix ups, and it's just I don't know, it just hasn't come off. And it's not that they've been bad trades. It's just, anyway, this week, had a bloody trainer on field. I had a Zach Reed. I had Will Ashcroft, So, the round rank was 33,000 or something along those lines. And after, sitting at 15,000, thought I was positioned pretty well. I dropped back like 4,000 to 19,000. So, yeah, I'm having an absolute mare of a season. But anyway, we were talking about this last night, Bales. I don't even feel like my team looks that bad. I feel like it looks pretty solid team, but it's just not coming off. But anyway, we'll keep kicking on, like I said, only early stages of the season, but yeah,
keep jogging.
Oh, exactly. And I think we're also gonna. I don't know. There's some things that are going to start to happen. I mean, it looks like we might be drying up in terms of rookies, right? Like people's benches might not be that deep, so people are going to run out of money to upgrade, and we might see some coaches, be able to climb. So anyway, yeah. A lot to play out.
Yep, still got 18 weeks to go. Still plenty of time to hopefully for us three to get inside and get a 4-digit rank. I had that. I think I said on the pod last night. I had a 4-digit rank on before the Dogs and Saints game, and I was pretty up and about, like 4K, like in the 4 digits. And after that game, I was back out to like 16K. So I'm like, brilliant. But anyway, we discussed that last night. But plus and minus 3, Tim. Who are you going to give that to?
Oh, Jesus. Plus or minus 3. So minus 3 would, it's got to be a Tom Stewart. Like, I mean, it's either got to be Will Ashcroft or Tom Stewart, but I think just with all the load that Tom Stewart's
got to give it to Will Ashcroft, I reckon, 41.
Oh, okay. Well, all right, there you go.
I went Tom Stewart, so I'll
yeah. And then, look, I mean, Nick Daicos, 131. That was my high score for the round, so I guess he gets my plus 3.
Yeah, very, very good trade in by you. Jordox, plus and minus 3 for you?
Start with the negative. We'll go with the minus 3. And it's probably a bit harsh, but Max Holmes has very much symbolised my side. Bit of a unique pick to start with. Some weeks he's looked really bad. Some weeks he's looked amazing. And I've thought, oh, you beauty. It's just up and down. And he was looking really good at halftime yesterday, and he just disappeared. I think I saw Newcomb sort of went with him for a bit in that second half. And anyway, he scored a 73, and that ended my chances of, having a really good week because he is quite unique. You
literally said up and down. He has literally been up and down. He's gone 106, 77, 119, 68, 133, 73. He's literally gone ton under. Like,
and it's funny why I picked him? I picked him because last year he was so consistent. He would always hit 80s, 90s. He'd never go lower. But anyway, he'll be right. And then, plus 3, love me a bit of Timmy time. Taranto, I've had him since round 1. It's been ugly ever since, but I enjoyed him this week. And no coincidence, Richmond got the upset win too. He's a bloody good player. So if he can score like that and play like that, Tigers won't get near the bottom of the ladder, which is good for their fans.
Yep, exactly. And safe to say, I was pretty bloody happy that Richmond got the win because I'm still a salty Crows fan, and I just want to see Gold Coast lose to make up for that bloody thing. But anyway, that happened a few weeks ago. We're not going to go down that path again. But we've just got a couple of super chats, so I'll answer these quickly before chatting about just a couple of things before we get into a heap of your questions. So make sure you guys keep smashing some questions in, and we'll get to as many as we can very, very shortly. So just a couple of super chats here. So Tim Ashworth's got the first one, so thank you very much, mate. He says, when are you ranking the Patreon Cup League and any help with my team? Do I fix Marias to long or Sullivan to a rookie? So with that, I'm obviously doing a video for the Patreon Cup reviewing the top 5 teams in that. So I'll be doing that sometime this week, Tim. So if you're on the top 5, mate, you pretty much get a bit of a team review there. But then again, I'm doing shit. So do you really want a team review from me this year? And then in terms of Marias to long or Sullivan to a rookie, what do you say? Jordox, this is what I'm looking at doing this week with trades, and this is one of the talking points I was going to actually, we'll touch on it now, so I'll touch on Tim's question at the same time. But this week, I think a lot of people last week got the Daicos, where they went up to a Merritt, maybe they got a Petracca, Taranto, maybe they jumped on one of these guys, Tom Green, and they don't have a lot of cash this week, and then they've got to get rid of a Levi Ashcroft and a Marrick, for example, to get an upgrade. With that, do you think that a guy like a Ned Long and going 2 of the guys that have failed, like an O'Sullivan, Marias, Trainer now, potentially Zach Reed. Going a couple of these guys, banking a little bit of cash, but then also getting a Ned Long to bench a rookie. What are your thoughts on doing some trades like this instead of doing a traditional one rookie down, one rookie, or mid-price up to a premium?
Well, there's not a heap of, real standout options to do that one down, one up, because, there's guys, I'm sure we'll talk about them, that are, under 300K, but the job security is probably nowhere near. We've been pretty blessed the opening 6 weeks of the season in terms of cash cows. Ned Long's an interesting one because a few people jumped on him last week, and if you look at the score, it was okay, but in the context of that game, it was actually a really good score. I reckon he was in the top, probably handful of scorers for the round.
Only 1 ton
for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only 1 ton.
I'm pretty sure he's the fifth. I'm pretty sure he was. Pretty sure Ned Long was the 5th highest scoring player from that game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So Daicos, Duncan,
with an 81,
Daicos, side bottom, and a Ned Long. So, and just to go on that point as well with Ned Long, so I'm keen to get yours and Tim's thoughts. I know Tim didn't get to see this game, but he's gone 30 and a quarter against Giants when he was the sub. Port played the game, scored a 90. Then the Dogs scored a 72. That was obviously coming on fairly early as the sub, obviously with the McInnes injury. Played a quarter against Carlton, scored a 31. Sydney 104, and then scored an 81 against Brisbane, a low-scoring game. And this guy's priced at just over 600K.
Yeah, and that was the thing that stood out, was the role was exactly what we thought 7 days ago. So I think he's still an option for sure.
Yeah. Tim, what's your thoughts on a Ned Long? Because he's the guy that people are, if you can't do an upgrade and get even if it's just Petracca or Taranto, get someone in that 900K range, Ned Long seems to be the more popular player in that sort of 600K mark. What do you think about him if you're getting rid of, I guess, 2 rookies to bring someone like him on and bench a rookie and he's like your M6, M7? What are your thoughts on Ned Long?
Yeah, look, I like it too. I mean, I think we saw from the weekend that how quickly we can get exposed with rookies. I do think there are some exceptions to that, like some that we like. I would actually argue that a Zach Reed is a pretty good rookie to hold, or a Jackson Pride, just because we know they're best 22, right? They're not going to be sub players. I mean, I know Zach Reed scored a 30 odd the other, but that, it was a very unique game that he had to go into the ruck, which really kind of changed up his role. So, yeah, look, I mean, I think if you're improving your side, and we've seen how, with the Marias, scoring a 30, you don't really want a 30 on your field, right? So if you've got someone like you can combine 2 rookies and get up to someone like a Ned Long, I think that's a definite play. I even think it might even be a play for, it's something I've considered this week. It's not a trade that I'm going to be pulling. I think I've got a pretty, straight bat trade this week, but I've considered someone like a Will Ashcroft down to a Ned Long, free up a bunch of cash, couple of 100K, that might enable you to do something up on the other side. And I think, there might even be some people that might even be looking at a bit of a sideways trade this week with like a TDK and a Tristan Cherry. So, with those, rooks drying up, there might be a few alternative kind of strategies coming into play now.
Yeah, exactly. And people got my thoughts on Ned Long. I'm pretty keen on him as an option if you can't get that upgrade. And Tim, I think that answers your question for your super chat there. I think Marais to Long and O'Sullivan down to a rookie. I think that's pretty much what I'm looking at doing at the moment as well. So I think they're good trades if you can get those 2 done. Corey Blackledge got a super chat. Thank you very much, mate. Which option this week, guys? So option 1 is TDK and Marais to Gawn and Long. Option 2 is Trainer and Marais to Tunstall and Petracca. Or 3 is a bit of a pod play, Trainer and Marais to Tunstall and Cozzy Pickett, who was very, very good on the weekend. I'm still a bit nervous about the pick. But Jordox, what option would you be going out of these here, 1, 2, or 3?
Love 3, just for the unique play there. I love what Pickett's doing. I'm not sure I'd do it, though, and I definitely wouldn't be doing number 1. I don't think we give up on TDK. Even if Pitnet comes in, and we can talk about that more later if it comes up. So I reckon out of the 3, I like number 2. I think Tunstall, he's probably going to end up being a red dot. So, Corey, if you've already got a bunch of red dots, I wouldn't. But if you've got it's funny. We're talking about not having options to trade down to, and that's true. But I saw so many people who looped Daicos on Thursday night sweating bullets that Boyd would be a late in because they didn't have a red dot. So it kind of depends, Corey. If you've got a situation where Boyd is your only red dot, you can take a punt on a Tunstall, knowing that it could end up being a failed pick. And Petracca, I think that pick speaks for itself. So out of the three, I like number 2.
Yeah, I agree. I like number 2 as well. Just with that, obviously Tunstall, I personally wouldn't be going there. I think that Brisbane lost. He only played 50-odd% of the game anyway. And Lohman apparently might be back this week. So that just makes sense of Lohman in, Tunstall would be out, or maybe the sub. And me and Jet flagged this last night as well on the pod. Just keep an eye on Hugh Boxall this week. Had 33 disposals, 6 marks, 9 tackles, and 135 in the VFL on the weekend. Sandringham, obviously St Kilda's VFL team, got a win over the Dogs there by 18 points. And people saying he was obviously one of the best on ground. Obviously, his fantasy score says that. So 230K, if he's not the sub, he plays early Saturday. So you actually get to know if he's a sub. I think he's the play for the rookie this week if he's named. But obviously, if he's not, then you might have to go Tunstall or even a Jed Buslinger maybe if he gets a game at the Dogs, if they shuffle a few things around. So, yes, a few things to keep an eye on. Jack Main's got a super chat. Thank you, mate. So he's asking, clean up rookies like Trainer, Foss, Sado, Hawley, Campo, Lindsay, Marias, as I've got them all, or do I focus on upgrades like Powder, Daicos, but need money for that? So, Tim, what are your thoughts this week? You fixing like a little bit of bench hygiene, I guess, with trying a couple of these rookies, but I guess who are you going to would be the question. But if you've got a couple options there, or are you going a Tom Power who's been a little bit stinky of late and going up to a Nick Daicos?
Okay, so look, Trainer, I think they're just giving him a bit of a rest. I think he's going to come back, and I actually think he's got a chance of scoring well. At the same time, I think you can trade him just because he's pretty much done his job. But, holding him, trading him, I'm not super bothered. Foss, I mean, it's just
22.
There's not much you can go down to. It's just not going to. It's a bit of a know-nothing trade, so I wouldn't be bit the same as Sardell Hooley. Campo, red dot. Although is that red dot working out?
This week will be handy because he plays the last game or second last game, so that'll be handy. Lindsay, what do you think about Lindsay? You got a 60 odds. Got Richmond West Coast next too.
Bit like Trainer, right? I think he's one of those. I mean, I wouldn't be looking to hop off him. I think he's one of those rookies that you could pretty much hold. Marias, okay, you can get off him. Look, this is a little bit what I've started to think about. Should we be? Look, I mean, I find this hard to answer, right? Because I don't know the guys, the rest of his team. What has he got on field? What has he not got on field, right? Or because you might be able to sit those guys on the bench while you do an upgrade on field to make your team better and keep climbing the ladder and keep climbing where you're positioned. So, I don't mind an upgrade from a Power to someone like a Daicos. I mean, I think Daicos is probably going to now run away from people a little bit. So, and Power's probably not the top 10 mid that we thought he might be.
Yeah, I think it's a bit in the middle. I think you've got I wouldn't be doing a double downgrade or a double rookie switch this week. I think that this isn't the time as well. Not only is there not enough rookies to probably go to, but I don't think it's the time. This is upgrade season. You're trying to make your team better. And I think if you're going like a Marias to a Boxall or to a Matt Carroll or to a rookie that's named and then going Power to Daicos, you're getting a rookie to make cash and cleaning up someone, but also you're getting an upgrade on the end where Power dropping cash. He's not scoring well. Wardlaw's obviously back and North Melbourne are a bit of a shambles at the moment. So, and you go and get Daicos, who is obviously killing at the moment. 3 of his last 4 have been over 130. Obviously, there's not much value as much as what there was last week, but I think if Power to Daicos is a trade that I'd be certainly looking at. I even said on the Hat Chat live space last week that with Tom Powell, I'd be keen to move off him. He's just not getting it done. He hasn't turned up since round 1, so just not getting it done there. Sam's got this super chat here as well. Thank you, mate. So Jordox is asking to field 3 defender rookies, so Reed, Trainer, and Bice, and do Hall and Bergman to that machine. That's Hamish, Davis, and Christian Petracca. Or do I stick with 2 defender rookies and do Hall and Bergman to Davis and Nick Martin?
I'd be going the second option there, stick with 2 and go Davis and Martin. Because is Martin much cheaper than Petracca? I'm trying to work out.
About 100.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not really.
About
Yeah,
100K.
okay.
Would you do the second option and go Petracca over Nick Martin and save 100K? Or do you think you definitely rather?
That's a good question. No, I reckon. So Petracca's 100K cheaper. Yeah, I'd be doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
2
Oh,
Rucks
actually,
and-
no. Oh, no. Sorry. No, hang on. No, the reason he's asking is because he can go Bergman to. Oh no, hang on. No, Bergman's out in both things. No,
That's
yeah.
what
If
I
you can
mean.
do you can do 2 defender rookies and go Petracca, I'd be doing that, Sam. I think I agree.
Yeah.
Richmond and West Coast the next 2 as well. Petracca, and he was the number 1 CBA attendee, and they won on the weekend. So
Back-to-back
like
tons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
He's just starting to warm up his CP5. Skills are cap. Thoughts on Flynn and also on Marek. So obviously, Tim, you're at this game, obviously, with the kids, so you probably got to see a little bit of the game, but obviously not a huge amount as well. But what are your thoughts on Matt Flynn, who went 97? Obviously had 1 quarter against essentially no ruck, but was still pretty good up until that point. And then your thoughts on a Ryan Marek.
All right, this side. Look, I mean, Flinny looked fine out there. You know, didn't. Well, from what I saw, you know, I mean, nothing that's particularly stand out. I think it's going to be all about what is he priced at. 664.
664.
Making about high 60s, 69, 60s. Oh, I don't know that there's much in it. And is that really want to be? I don't really feel like they're the trades that we want to be making in our ruck line. Also, I mean, do you think someone's trying to get up from like an arse read? No, it's probably more people are more likely to have
TDK or something down to a Flynn and then use that cash to upgrade, because it's a bit of money now. Still, it's still like 300 essentially.
What's the price difference with a Tom DeConnick and a Cherry? It's going to be pretty much nothing, right?
Yeah. So
7K.
Yeah, 7K. Yeah.
I mean, that if you're getting off TDK, that's where you're going. I don't think you go into a Max Gorn. I think there was someone else asking a Max Gorn question before. Like, for me, Max Gorn is not a player that you want to be bringing in for the rest of the season, right? Like he was. I was trying to take advantage of his early run, and I thought Cherry was going to have a tough run in those early rounds, right? And you know, okay, it's worked out, but not by much, right? But you know, now that was. I mean, for me, I was actually looking at probably more like. From the beginning of the season, going from more like a Gorn to a Cherry, TDK to a Cherry, like, yeah, I just don't think I want to be making those kind of trades in my rucks, and I don't think other people should be either. And look, I don't think the job security
we want it. So. Yeah, I'd want to know that Bailey Williams isn't going to just come back in 2 weeks and then Flynn's out again. So I reckon you'd want one more look at it, and. You know, he's up against Meeky this week. So if he can keep that spot and score well up against Meek this week, I reckon we can have the Flynn conversation next week.
I think
it's just too risky at this point. 97.
97. And I think here, Matt Flynn, the Eagles rucker, I saw the Supercoach page post this. He said, throughout the preseason, the number 1 role was never locked down, and it still isn't. So even Matt Flynn saying the number 1 ruck role still isn't locked down. So that's red flags for me that. Yeah, even he's saying that it's not there, so I wouldn't be looking at that. And and thoughts on Marek, Tim? Obviously, still scored a 72 with Gov back. Didn't have as many kick-ins, but I don't know if you've seen his upcoming run. He's got Hawthorn this week, but it doesn't get really any better, much better than his 3 following that. So he goes Hawthorn at Marvel this week, then he goes Melbourne, Richmond, St Kilda after that.
Yeah, look, I think he's one of those players you can probably hold on to, but it's over now. The opportunity that we had was with Gov out, and Gov's back in now. So, I don't think his scoring is going to necessarily fall off a cliff. He's probably going to score around what he's priced at. Maybe he'll score a little bit above that just because of his good run. I think he's one of these players you can kind of hold on to at the moment. With the lack of rookies coming through, but yeah, it's now time to upgrade him when you can.
Yeah,
I think I'm trading Marek this week, Bales.
Yeah, we'll go through our trades after. I'm keen to hear who you're trading him to. So, I'm probably holding just for the time being. But I guess if you can go him up to Petracca or something like that, then obviously definitely tick that off there. Tim Ashworth put another super chat saying, "What rookie should I get in?" So you got Matt Carroll is there, -4 break even. I wouldn't be going for a Will White. It's a bit more expensive, small forward. Obviously had a good game the weekend, but it's pretty much Matt Carroll. And then we're looking at hopefully a Hugh Boxall coming in. Well, that's the hope, or a Josh Smiley, one of those guys, because I don't think I'd go for a Tunstall. Obviously, Tom Gross and Sudal Hawley both were subs. Obviously, you're not going there anymore. So it's tricky. We hopefully we can get Jed Busling if he comes in. Hopefully, we'll get a couple of these rookies.
What would what's El Hawley's break-even Bales?
Well, he scored -1, so it would be you probably jump back up. So back up to 27. So you can even wait.
I actually think at 264K he plays Thursday, so we're going to see. It's he plays Friday. It's not the first game, but he plays Friday. If he's not the sub, I would absolutely recommend him, even with a break even to 20, because I think in 4 quarters his scoring is going to be pretty good. I know he just scored -1 in a full quarter, but the week before he came on, I think in the second quarter scored 70. The week before that he had 7 touches really quickly. I couldn't believe he was a sub again. I just think once he's released at that price and the DPP of defender mid, I think he's going to be pretty popular.
Yeah, it'd be something to watch out for sure. And these super chats are flying in. We've got a couple more here. So Chris Gow's got one. Thank you, mate. He's saying, convince me out of getting Pickett. Really keen on him. Lets me play one less rookie on field. So Tunstall and Pickett from O'Sullivan and Mariah's Tim. What are your thoughts on Cozzy Pickett? Obviously, you're getting rid of a Foss and a Mariah. So obviously, you're getting rid of 2 guys that are done and not making any cash for us. What are your thoughts on a Cozzy Pickett?
So my initial thoughts are no. That's my initial thoughts, but that's without really looking at it, and that's because I just generally don't look at a player like this. We have considered him in the past getting more CBAs.
Last year, we
is that what's happening? He's getting into CBAs now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting into CBAs, and so he's got 87, 99, and 118.
What's his CBAs been?
They've been up, but he's not like the typical CBA midfielder that stays in the midfield. He goes in the CBA and then he goes forward. Like they literally talked about it on I think it was First Crack. They talked about it where he starts in the CBA and then actually plays as the deepest forward. That's what I don't love that as a
think
role.
a bit how Rankin was going last year with those spurts in the middle, just to change the dynamic in that CBA setup.
So I think with Pickett. Third most CBAs, but I think it's not really.
All right, hang on. Have a listen. Well, okay, fine. But, I mean, CBAs, this is what they've been so far for the 3 games he's played this year, 59%, 42%, 68%. So, look, maybe he should be someone that we're looking at with more.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd say on Pickett, guys. If he was a defender, as in you could pick him as a defender, I'd be jumping. But because the forward line is just filled with good players at good prices, that's probably where I'd say I don't know if it's worth the risk, but I do think what we're seeing from Pickett is real, and I do think this is going to be his career best year scoring wise. I just don't know. It's 783K. If you'd done it 20 was a bit cheaper, maybe, but we're talking, when there's Petracca floating around and just guys you can trust a lot more. I just don't know if I could do it, but I would commend anyone who did do it, because I do think he's going to continue playing well. I just don't know if he's going to end up being a top 6 forward, and at that price, is it worth it? I mean, he kicked 5 goals playing mostly midfield. It's freak stuff, but it's not. You can't maintain that.
To answer Chris's question, though, I mean, it's from O'Sullivan and Moraes, right, to Tunstall and Pickett. I mean, I don't know if I like Tunstall. Maybe you can go to El Hawali or someone else. But if you can get to Pickett, from the look of that, why not? Why not? Certainly have a throw at the stumps.
I'll give you a name, Chris, that I actually like better than that, and he's 15K cheaper. I heard the traders talking about him. James Warple. It's a name that wouldn't be too angry at bringing in. So he scored a 49 in under half a game against the Swans in round 0. Obviously came back in round 5, scored an 85 from only 69% game time against Port when they got thumped. And then against Geelong, scored a 104 from 80% game time. And he goes into West Coast, Richmond, Melbourne, Gold Coast the next 4. And he's cheaper.
Nash will be out.
Nash is out as well. Will Day's out, so more responsibility. The only thing, obviously, with Pickett that I don't love, and even with a Warple, there's question marks, is that I think people are, because what I was talking about before, people haven't got the cash to go up and get the guys over 850. I think you got to be careful with who you bring in, because you don't want to bring in someone and then they become a failed pick, and you got to try and fix them up. Because look at me with my best mate Sam Taylor. I thought, yep, put him in the team and start him. I won't be able to get, and I wasn't able to get rid of him.
He's going to 80 though, Bales.
Yep. I said it. I said it. So, but yeah, that's the only thing that worries me with Pickett. And it's not, the CBAs look great on paper, but I just worry that the role isn't, it's like more like a Jake Stringer type role where you CBAs and just go forward.
Filippo's going to be back in a couple of weeks. He's another guy that you could do instead if you wait a few weeks. Yeah. But go with your gut, Chris. If you like Pickett and you like what you're saying, I think it's going to continue. It's not without its risks.
Look, same with Hawthorn though, but Melbourne and Hawthorn both have pretty bloody good runs. So, I do like the way he's thinking.
You know who's cheaper than Pickett is Dylan Moore. And I know his scoring's been disgusting, but Connor Nash out.
Yeah.
They've got a decent run. Yeah.
I think that's a good shout too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't mind the Warple play for if anyone's considering something like that. Skills at Cap's got another super chat here. Thank you, mate. He's saying, I'm sitting 667 overall. I've still got Leak, Campo, and Boyd on my bench. Should I go keep the one up, one down, or fix up the bench? So I think this is a bit what we were talking about before, Jordox. I'm probably still a fan of trying to do, if you can do like a red dot and go someone up to a Ned Long or something like that, I'd do that. But if you can't, I still like the one up, one down if you can do that. Is that still your preference?
Well, they're interesting players. I mean, Boyd, I could see all three of those guys playing. Like Leak and Camporelli had really good games in the VFL. Boyd, I reckon, is very close the way Marshall's been playing. So I don't know.
Have you seen Marshall's scores? He's got a 52 on the weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Against Tim English.
Yeah,
I know they got belted, but he took the thing that was concerning for Marshall and onto your Boyd point is he had 0 marks on the weekend and 0 tackles. And that's something that we know Marshall loves. He gets open for marks. He gets the tackles, gets the hit-outs, gets the touches. He had 16 disposals, 0 marks, 0 tackles, 23 hit-outs. He's never been like a 40, 50 hit-out guy. I'd be shocked if Boyd isn't in the next fortnight, personally.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Leak, I don't know where he fits in, but I don't think we're done seeing him at AFL level this year. And Camporelli, similar. So I don't know if they're your three on the bench that you're worried about. I don't know. I reckon you could probably just keep doing what you're doing, mate. You're sitting at 667. I wouldn't stress too much about those three names.
I think there's 2 points to this, right? Firstly, who the hell are you going to? And secondly, I like it like this. Leak gives you a red dot rookie in your defensive line where maybe you can loop in your defenders. Campo in your mids, and pretty much everyone's got Boyds. There no really R3. So I just keep on focusing on, one up, one downs, keeping a good position in the competition at this time of the year. And you never know what's going to fall to you, right? There could be, some big red dots, or big, big bullets over the next couple of weeks, or there could be some really big opportunities. We've got people like, Callum Mills coming back as well. Like you talked about the Pooh as well. So, there's opportunities coming.
Yeah, exactly. Another couple of super chats here. You guys are smashing these tonight. Thank you very much. Very much appreciate the extra little bit of support there. So Jacob Napoli says, a cheap rookie mid-forward, James Tonstal, or go for Hugh Boxall? Well, Jacob, I think it's as simple as if Hugh Boxall's named and not the sub, I would personally go there because I think the Saints are crying out for another midfielder like Jack Steele. Don't know if he's playing injured or something, but he looks pretty cooked at the moment. Garcia's is okay, but he's not one of the main sort of guys there. Jack McRae can't sort of do it all himself. So I think Boxall, I'd be pretty surprised if he's not named this week, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think good form in the VFL. Saints need him, need someone in there. And if he's not the sub, I think I'd be going there. I think Tunts will be dropped anyway, personally. So just something to watch there, Jacob. And Limits has got this one. Martin or Holmes? I've got Bergman, and he's worrying me. Obviously, he only got a 30-odd on the weekend. So Tim, if you had to choose between a Nick Martin and a Max Holmes, fairly sort of similar price, are you going for the DPP with Martin as a defender forward, or are you going Max Holmes is slightly cheaper?
I'm going Nick Martin, and the primary reason why I'm going Nick Martin is just that run that they've got between now and about round, it's about 16 or 17, just pretty bloody good matchups in they've got the best run essentially of any team in the competition. So yeah, that's where I'm going, and I'm still a bit concerned about Max Holmes's yo-yoing scores, and that he's also been a bit of a tag target as well. Whereas I just don't think that's going to happen to Nick Martin.
Yeah, and Max Holmes' next 4 matches as well: Carlton, Collingwood, GWS, Port Adelaide. Not a friendly run at all, and I'm a bit worried, particularly that Giants game, maybe Hewitt this week as well. Even though I don't know if Hewitt's been playing fantastic. I don't know if he's really going to lock down too hard, but that run does worry me. So I'm also definitely on a Nick Martin. The other question I had for you boys as well was obviously we talked about Marshall with his poor form. Obviously, De Koning's fallen off. Who do we think is the R2? Because I think we all believe that Tristan Sherry's going to be in the top 2, going to get back to some form and go better. But who's joining him? Is it Matt Scorn, Tim? Obviously, you mentioned about you probably not wanting to trade him in, but is he the R2? Is it Darcy Cameron? Is it Tim English? Do we think Marshall's going to pick it back up and he's someone we should be looking at? Who do you think is the R2? Because I'm keen to get your and Jordox's thoughts.
No idea, mate. I got no idea at the moment. So, like I said, I mean, it could be Maxi, but yeah, like I said, I was just a bit concerned about his ability to finish the season. There was also a lot of coaching comments. I think it was in the preseason. Yeah, it was preseason, but it was late in the preseason where they talked about playing a 2-ruck combo at some stages, or maybe resting Maxi as well. So, that's what I'm a little bit worried about in terms of him being the R2. I don't know. And that's why I think, with so much uncertainty there, that's why I don't think you want to be making too many moves in there right now. I mean, I think Cherry owners are going to be pretty happy that obviously he seems to have bounced back. Tom De Koning, for me, it's really about this week up against Geelong, that Geelong matchup. It really should be an easy week for him. So if he doesn't score well, then that really does tell me that something's off with him, and you really probably need to look at trading him. But for me, like I said, it'd be to a Tristan Cherry. But if you've already got Cherry, who are you looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure.
Well, Dominic Sheridan, Jordox, is saying, Marshall, what do I do with him now? Got gone. Would you prefer to go down sideways? Won't help upgrading a rookie. So with Marshall, right, he's down in the mid-900s. He's, I think I saw his break-evens, 165, and he's up against McInerney this week. Are you holding Marshall in the hopes he turns around a bit like a Tristan Cherry, or this is now the same as Cherry? This has been 3 weeks now, 75, 70, and a 52. Are you just holding hope? Or if Boyd's in, do you trade? What were you doing with Ryan Marshall?
I'd be holding. Because there's no guarantees in the ruck line. Nothing's guaranteed. Going to your question before, Bales, who's the R2? I wouldn't even necessarily say Cherry's the R1. I wouldn't say that with any confidence.
No, I don't think there is a ruck. I don't think there's a single ruck at the moment that's you'd say confidently. I was just saying Cherry because back form, we know what he's done.
No, of course. But that's my point. Like, we're trying to work out R2. I don't think anyone knows R1. So I actually think De Koning is still the one, and I'd be sticking fat with him. But to your Marshall question, you only have to look at round 1 to round 2. Round 1, he scored 64, sharing with Boyd. It was an absolute disaster for anyone that started him. Round 2 against Geelong, he scored 142. I think when you look at Marshall, just take away the last score, the 52, because anyone who watched that game, it was as one-sided a game. Forget the scoreboard, just as one-sided a game of footy as I can remember. At least that from quarter time anyway. So forget what he scored in that game. It's the 270s in the weeks before, and that was up against Briggs and Sweet, who have been struggling, and then the big scores before that.
Yeah.
I think I think with Marshall, just hang fat. I don't even think Boyd in is that big a deal. Same as I don't think Pitternet in would be the end of the world for DeConning. I think what we're seeing this year with Rucks is they just need a bit of support because they're getting gassed, the ones who are going solo.
Yep, agreed. Sean's got this question. Tim, I'll ask you this one here. Saying, hey, lads, would you guys trade a Finn O'Sullivan for one of Carl Amon, who was pretty good on Easter Monday and has got a good run coming? We mentioned the Hawthorn run. Max Holmes or Lockie Ash? Or would you keep Foss and trade Marais for Nick Martin? So you're going Foss to... So who would you go, Amon, Holmes or Ash?
So I'd do the other one. I'd go to Martin. That's
so you'd trade Marais over Foss and go to Nick Martin?
Yeah.
I'd be doing that as well. I
don't think Foss or Marais are really any different in terms of the rookies that they are. Might even start going back. Both of them might even start going backwards in price. So, if you can, it's all about who you can get to. And I think Nick Martin is the better upgrade out of all those players.
I reckon there's a good chance both those kids are in the twos this week. Sullivan and Marais. I reckon there's a good chance of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that could help your decision.
Here's a good one.
Hey, Bales, before you do the next one.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. We'll do the super chat, and then I've got one I want to bring up.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so your boy Zenith, thank you for the super chat, mate. Nick Martin or Christian Petracca? I've got 2K spare with Nick Martin. So I think we touched on it slightly before, but I'll be keen to get your thoughts. Are you going for Nick Martin? Obviously, we talked about the run up until the bye's really good, defender forward, or are you going Christian Petracca for 100K less, but it's got the next two matchups, which are very, very good?
I reckon Petracca.
Petracca. Tim, where would you go?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm Petracca. Cheaper, not by much. Yeah, I'm. What is that? 100 grand, something like that. So yeah, I'm Petracca.
I feel like I could safely predict Petracca's scoring more than I could predict Nick Martin's. Nick Martin's role, and really the slam dunk pick was Nick Martin last week. So that was last week. I think the big pick this week will be Petracca up against Richmond.
Yeah. I think Petracca, because that 100K, that could get you the upgrade you want next week, right? We're talking about this week where people are probably can only get to 750, 850 this week and probably are short of getting someone they want. That 100K will be able to get you the 950 maybe next week or the better upgrade. So I'm going Petracca. But I do like Nick Martin. I like the the defender forward flexibility, and Tim's obviously mentioned the run as well. So that's something to be watching out for. But yeah, George, you said you had a question that you wanted to pop up there. So
yeah, I read this right when we started. I've been itching to do it. So John A has put in a request for us to give a birthday shout out to his mate who's got the same name as you, Bales. So Bailey Miller has just turned 18. Happy birthday, Bales. From the three of us.
Thank you, mate. My birthday's in 3 days. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Happy birthday to Bailey Miller. Obviously, you got a good first name. 18 is it's a good milestone, 18, mate.
The world is your oyster, young man. Go forth and conquer.
Exactly. Yes. Happy birthday. It must be. I know a few Baileys actually that do have birthdays in April, which is interesting. So there you go. But yeah, if you boys find any questions, because we've got so many popping through here. If you guys find a question you want to ask, feel free to ask it, and we can chat about it. But because there is so many questions, there is like a obscene amount of questions, which is fantastic. It means you guys are tuning in for one, which is great, and two, there's so many. But make sure what it will do to put your question in again, chuck it in the bottom. To make it easier, and then we can answer them and keep going through there. So Phil McKay's got this one. Is Lockie Neal an option if you can't get Nick Daicos? Tim, what's your thoughts with Lockie Neal?
What's that run look like? Because obviously he's a number one tag target as Brisbane.
Winhager.
Winhager, yeah. Nah, look. I think that's a bit of the story of his year, right? 37 in round one, 117, 91, 115, 93, 79. It's just going to be up and down just with that target. Great player, but, just too much to target the taggers. Is it price that he's looking for? 937. I mean, what we were talking about before, like a Nick Martin, Christian Petracca. That's probably
Taranto's right there.
Taranto, yeah.
Your boy.
I'd probably rank him third out of those other two, but I'd see if you could get somewhere there.
Yep, I would agree with that. Arham 77. Hey lads, 98th overall. Congrats, mate. Top 100. Very, very nice there. Round rank of 38 as well. Jeez, that's a massive week, mate. Congrats on that. How are we feeling about Tom Powell down to Ned Long and TDK to X? Would still be fielding Reed. Is Finn. If that's Finn O'Sullivan, he's got to go. Levi, Sanders, and Davidson. I don't know if that's Callahan because you're including Sanders here. I'm just going to say I'm assuming that's Finn O'Sullivan, which I'd say he has to go and try and fix him up.
Get him Ned Long.
Yeah, maybe. What do you think, Tim? If it is Finn O'Sullivan, what do you think about a Tom Powder? Actually, what is Tom Powder's price? Because that probably would dictate if you can do this or not. I was thinking Tom Powder, Warple, and Finn O'Sullivan up to Ned Long.
What were the other rookies he was looking at trading out? Can't you trade a couple of those and get to Ned Long maybe?
Yeah, so he's got Zach Reed there, Levi, Sanders, and Davidson, which obviously Sanders you're not looking at moving at all after that 130. So you're saying out of those, you wouldn't worry about doing TDK to X. You would you'd keep Powell. You just go a rookie down, then a rookie up to Ned Long?
I'd keep Powell and I'd see if I could get that rookie Finn O'Sullivan up to Ned Long.
Yeah, I'd be doing the same if you can do that.
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind Powder Long. I think that's a pretty logical trade. I'd love to talk about Cherry.
Finn O'Sullivan on field though. That's the only problem.
Oh yeah, no, that part of it I don't like, but just in general terms, that's a pretty good one.
Hang on, he's just commented there saying it's Finn Callahan. Okay, scratch that. Don't even worry about what we're saying there. So he's got Finn Callahan instead. But now I've lost his question because there's so much chat still coming in.
That's all right. But let's talk about Cherry because I'm hearing people going to Conning to Cherry. Why do we think Cherry's back? As such, he had a good score. So, don't get me wrong, but he took one mark. He had 2 kicks, and he was completely outplayed by DeConning. I'm not convinced he's back. I'm an owner, and I'm glad he scored a ton, but I wouldn't be jumping off someone else like a DeConning for him.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the week, I guess, to do the TDK to Cherry, but I think Cherry's back. Obviously, I don't know, not a doctor or anything like that. Can this hamstring tendonitis, can it flare? Well, if that's what he had, we obviously don't know. Can it flare up again? We obviously, I don't know. That'd be good if a doctor could sort of, where's DC? We need to ask DC about this, get his opinion. Watching X, the big thing that I took from the game watching was the last 3 weeks when he got to 70 and that hamstring was an issue. He rested essentially the whole second half of the last quarter. So about good 10, 12 minutes on the bench. And when he'd get the hit out, he would tap it, then he'd sort of stop. He'd walk around, wouldn't do much. Whereas on the weekend, he'd get the tap and he'd do that ominous stalking of like where the ball is. And if an opponent got it, he would just clinch and grab him and take him to the ground. And that's why he got his tackles. So we know that when X is on, yes, he didn't get the kicks, but North did get belted. And he has never been like a 5, 6, 7 mark type player. So I think he's back personally, but yeah, I think as you say, TDK to X, is it the week? It's a tricky one because
I agree with what you say, Jordox. I don't think he actually played that well. So I mean, look, maybe it was just one out of the bag in terms of the scoring. Like Bales is saying, I think the thing to do is just wait a week. We'll see. We'll know a lot more after next week. Like TDK against Geelong, we'll know another week with Cherry. If he backs it up, we'll know that he's back for sure.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask Tim this one because he's got obviously PTSD from last year with this player. But Jordox, what are your thoughts? George Daicos has got this question. Your thoughts on Jai Newcomb? Obviously, we talk about that Hawthorn run. I know Tim probably couldn't bring him in after last year, but what are your thoughts about Jai Newcomb?
Let me just familiarise myself. I've got him in my keeper league, so I love him. But you talk about up and down guys. I just think he can have a really solid game and score 80. They're not the guys I love in fantasy.
Is he the number one
He's a
tag
good
guy as well
price.
now with Will Day out?
Oh, yes and no. I mean, he does tagging roles as well. So he's just a bit of a, you know what? I'll keep it simple and I'll just say, no, I don't think it's a good option. I think he can score really well, but then he can have good games where he only scores 70, 80, and not for me.
Yeah, I think he's up near $1 million, right? You're bringing him in to be a top 8. You want him to be averaging over 105, and I just don't think he's got the consistent enough game. I even think he reminds me of the type of player that I don't actually think he's going to go 110 plus over the next month in these easy matchups. He seems to me like he plays better the tougher the opponent is. I don't know if you guys agree. That just he seems like the player that rises to the tougher matchups. So
I think his numbers would suggest that this year. The other thing too is he's a very handball happy fella. So if he's not getting his bulk tackles, he just doesn't have that ceiling. If he's not, he had a big one in round 2. No, I think we've said enough on him. I don't mind him, but I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, if he was in the 800K range, like where he was at the start of the year, I'd be a bit more keen on it with a good run, bit underpriced. But being high 900s, you're not that far off from your. Go get Nick Martin, put a forward in your mid, go get Nick Martin, or a defender in your mid like a Sinclair, and go get Nick Martin. Go get Petracca, who's cheaper. I'd even rather Taranto as well, I think, who's about 60K cheaper. So, but yeah. Tony Ford's got this one, Tim. He's going Christian Moraes and Max Hall to Boxall and Daicos. Would you go cheaper, though, and bring in Taranto or Petracca, or Daicos, you just go get him?
You can get Daicos, bring Daicos in. Look, I heard someone say a couple of weeks ago that he's got a bit of a sniff of a brown line, one of the podcasts. I think that might just be a really good way of putting it. He looks particularly hungry this year. Even when they try and put some attention into him, it just doesn't seem to do much work like that, it's not that effective, right? So, I'm not so worried about him having those floor scores that he used to have in his past, when he'd kind of bring up a 75 or something along those lines after being tagged. I think that, he probably has got a higher floor than that now. I think he's also one of those players that it just sucks not to own him, right? We often watch him in, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night footy, and he's tearing it up. He's one of those players as well. I did watch a bit of the Saints game, and I was kind of watching Hugo Garcia, and he got to 84 points, and I hardly even saw him the whole bloody game. But whereas Nick Daicos, it's like you see every point that he scores, so it's just really hard to watch and not have him in your side. I think there still might even be some value in him. So, I think if you can get to him, there's no reason not to right now. And I think his run and his scoring is only going to get better.
I think that the big thing for Nick Daicos, and the reason I think he's a 110 plus guy this year, and people say that obviously he gets some of these 80s and stuff. I think Ned Long is unlocking Daicos, and they talk again. I watch First Crack every a lot this season, trying to hear what they're going to say about the Crows. Obviously, they're up and about, so tune into a few extra footy shows to see what they're saying about the Crows. But they talked about Ned Long and his impact on freeing Nick Daicos up, because last year Nick Daicos was playing as the in and under guy when Tom Mitchell was injured. Like, he was having to get his own ball, go in under, getting a lot of handballs, whereas now Ned Long is able to get it out to him, and now Daicos is getting all this outside ball, getting more marks, linking up in a lot more chains, getting 2, 3, 4 possessions. I think that the Ned Long thing for not only Collingwood, for Daicos is just unlocking a lot of that. And if you can get Daicos in, you have to do it. You'll sleep a lot better at night having Nick Daicos in your team. That's for sure. But yeah, it's Edge says Horn Francis or Tim Taranto. Jordox, where would you be going here, your boy? Would you go Tim Taranto? Or would you go for Hornet?
Horn Francis, just with that forward status. And look, I'm pumped with Taranto. Don't get me wrong. I've had him all season, and it hasn't been pretty. So, yeah, he's getting better, but the Tigers are still going to be where they're at. They'll have great games like they did on the weekend and in round one against Carlton, but for the most part, scoring is going to be hard for them. And Horn Francis is really, he's really getting going now. And yeah, I reckon that's an easy one.
Yeah. Glenn Bartlett, Tim, do we stick with 3 defender rookies to get Ned Long, or do you upgrade in defence this week to go to 2 defender rookies?
No, look, I think I'm going to go with the Ned Long play, right? Just because, I mean, the question is, who are you going to? I mean, look, Nick Martin we've talked about a lot during this pod. So, look, if you can get to Nick Martin, I think there's a lot of reason to do that and try and take some of that risk out of that rookie line. But apart from that, there's really no. And look, I mean, what's he? He was $1 million last week, right? So I don't even know what he is now. It'd be
999 something.
Okay.
I'm sure.
All right, 995. So that's still under $1 million. So,
few of these defender options they're coming down and they're going down the price very quickly. So like Sinclair's break even's 132 now. He's just over $1 million. Zorko's obviously dropped 3 poor scores in a row. I'm sure he'll get back to better form. Just a bit of a quiet stretch for him. You got Max Holmes is going to drop after a poor score there. Flanders is mid 900s. You've even got our boy Jordox Ladies under 900k. Josh Daicos is under 900k. Hasn't quite gone big yet, but I know Mitch was talking about it on their pod last night that it's just a matter of time. I think it's actually a lot of defender options. Callum Mills, I don't know. I feel like you don't have to make the big upgrade this week. So as you're saying, Tim, the 3 defender rookies you can keep for an extra week or 2. Let these guys come down and go Ned Long.
And Riley Bice, we're not really that worried about. Once
he's
again,
not rookie, I don't think.
Well,
he is, but yeah, he's like, yeah.
But, we don't consider him a rookie. Once again, Zach Reid, but if he doesn't have that ruck role, he's been scoring pretty well. I mean, I think he's a pretty solid 60 on the field. So, it's probably better than a lot of your other rookies, apart from a Levi Ashcroft.
Yeah. We've got a couple more here before we wrap up. We're nearly at the hour mark, which is where we'll probably cut it. So Tim Luwawu, Jordox, best player under 900k in the midfield or defence. Thinking Isaac Rankin, as I've already got Petracca, maybe Warple. What are your thoughts on Rankin? Obviously scored a 98, even with a Bedford tag on the weekend and in the wet.
Can you put that question up? Because you've confused me already. I thought you said defender or mid.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. Oh, so hang on. What did he say? Oh, mid or forward, not defense. Sorry, he put the question. Yeah, he said he put the question wrong. Yeah. So best player under 900k in midfield or forward. Thinking Rankin already got Petracca.
Gotcha. Best play. I tell you what. Go to the next question, and I'll have a play, and then come back to me, and I'll give you someone juicy.
Yep. McTurtle says thoughts on Chera over Horn Francis. Tim, obviously you're a Chera owner. Is it too late for Chera? He's over 900k.
Yeah.
Is it too late?
Yeah. Look, he's been a great starting pick, but he's a player that I'm going to be looking to upgrade pretty soon. So I don't think he's someone that you want to be bringing in.
Yeah, I'd agree. Not sure if I'd upgrade him too soon because he's been pretty bloody good. But
but look, he's one of those players that I'm not. Maybe to the buys.
I think he's got the first buy as well, round 12, so it could be a bit of a switch there, I reckon. John Sanders has got this one, Tim, and then we'll see what Jordox's thoughts on the other question. Which 4 would you start? So he's got Garcia, Davidson, Ashcroft, Lindsay, Trainer, or Reed.
So Trainer, when does he play this week?
Thursday night.
Once again, we're going to know whether he's a sub or not, right?
Yeah. They pretty much said it was a management thing for him.
Lindsay, I wouldn't. Jesus, how many names did you give me? Lindsay,
here we go, actually, because your brain, I can see it turning. We'll put it up on the...
Garcia, I've been pretty happy with him, actually. Davidson did better than I thought he was going to do on the week. Look, he's kind of done his job. I traded him out last week, but, he probably could hold him for another week or 2. Ashcroft, you're not moving Ashcroft anywhere. Lindsay is the one that I'm really worried about. Trainer or Reed?
It's which 4 would you start on field?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. So you're not starting Lindsay, right? So it's drop off one more.
Richmond, he's got Richmond this week.
Yeah, I still think. Who's Davidson got this week?
GWS at Monaco.
Yeah.
I think it's
I reckon
Ashcroft,
those 6.
Lindsay. I think it's Ashcroft, Lindsay, Trainer, and probably maybe your Garcia or Reed, maybe.
Surely it's got to be Garcia.
Saints could make some changes this week with such a bad performance. Is Garcia one of the whipping boys there? That's my worry.
I don't. Yeah, I reckon out of them, I'd be benching Reed and that's a good question. Maybe Davidson.
Yeah, well, you had to bench one of Garcia. Garcia plays first, right? If he's not the sub, I think you play Garcia over Davidson, I reckon. That's probably where I'd be going.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, good question there, John. I like that one. It's Edge. Guys, smash the like button, get to 100 likes. Yes, make sure you do smash the like. I think we've got 28 on my thing there. So we get 100, that'd be fantastic. So we've got near 200 watching. So if 1 in 2%, almost 1 in 2 people, if you can smash a like and help us out, that'd be fantastic. Ed says, encourage these boys for the time they put in for us, like the stream. Thank you, mate. Very much appreciate the kind words there. Josh, have you had a look at that other question we had from before, the mid or forward under 900K?
I keep getting distracted. So he said not Petracca, obviously. If you could squeeze an extra
Rankin.
2K. Who was he looking at doing? Looking at Rankin. For under 900, Rankin is probably your best bet. That's the best I could come up with. That's shit house.
Thanks for putting all that extra time in, Jordox. We appreciate it.
That's shit house. Well, there's guys there. I mean, it's the best guy under 900 is Rankin. So there's a reason you're looking at it.
It's Rankin for sure. Probably underperformed with his calf issues and his tag. I think he's going to go better than he's going to have gone over the last 3, and you're lucky to be getting him under 900K.
Yeah,
agreed. I can tell Jordox is getting tired and Tim's getting tired, so we'll finish up with this. Mate. We'll finish up with this last super chat. So thank you, Schools of Cap, for another one here. Should I go Marek or Lawler to Petracca? So Tim, would you be going Marek up or would you go Lawler up to Petracca?
I think Lawler or Layla. Is that Layla?
I say Lawler. I think it probably.
Look, you upgrade the rookie. Which is Layla. So, yeah, if you can get him to Petracca, that's better. You go to Petracca.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And on that note, we will wrap up there. There's a heap of questions. There's still you guys are smashing through with still a heap more questions there. If you do want your question answered and you'd like to become a patron, and help spell us out a little bit, but also get some bonus content, exclusive Q&As. There'll be extra content throughout the year as well on there. Make sure then head over to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. You also get the Ask Me on Q service for free. So you get one team review per Patreon member a week. So you can send your screenshots through, audio response, all that good stuff. If you'd like to do that, then head to the link in the description, or you can use the Ask Me on Q service for just a one-off small fee there, and you get a personalized response to your question, team review, trade question, whatever you like. So if you guys want to get more questions answered, feel free to go there. Or we do have pre-lockout chat on the Friday as well at 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. per time to answer all of your fantasy questions ahead of lockout. But obviously, actually, no, we won't be doing one, I don't think, this week because on the Friday's Anzac Day. So I'm not sure what we'll be doing with that. We'll probably keep people up to date with that. I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. But anyway, Jordox, early trade thoughts. Obviously, 24 hours removed from lockout. What are you looking at doing with your trades this week?
I reckon Ryan Marek can go. I just think the 70s, they're fine. But, yeah, I just think it's a good price. Can get up to a Petracca pretty easily there, so that'd be one thing I'm looking at. I've been wanting to cut Connor Stone for a while, but he actually put up his first good score, so probably not him.
I'm glad that you changed it to cut and not gut. I was going to say that'd be very, very graphic and aggressive towards Connor Stone.
Yeah, I didn't get Daicos last week. I think I just have to let that go and focus elsewhere. So some sort of version of one up, one down, getting Marek up to Petracca, I think, is the safe play for me this week.
Yeah, I like it. Guesty, what are your thoughts with your trades this week?
So yeah, I've still got cash in the bank from last week, and that will enable me to get someone like, so it'll depend on the other rookie that I can bring in. So if it's someone like a Hugh Boxall, that'll give me a lot of flexibility, and I can look at, it might even be like a Finn O'Sullivan or a Marias or a Connor Stone or something like that. But at the moment, it's like a Luke Trainer and a Corey Warner. But that's with a Caden Cleary and a Christian Petracca, so I doubt I'll be bringing in Cleary at 400,000. But yeah, we'll see what the rookie options out there are. So, and yeah, just I'm going to try and keep those rookies that I think are going to continue playing and scoring well, which I do think Trainer is one of them.
Yeah, I like it. My trade plans, I'm looking at going, so I had a tiny bit of cash in the bank there, and it's actually going to be quite handy this week. I'm looking at going Finn O'Sullivan down to Matt Carroll. If Hugh Boxall isn't named, if Boxall's named, not the sub, I'll just go to him. So I've got the ability to look at that and see. And then I'll be going a Christian Rice up to Ned Long, because the only way I can get an upgrade that I'm really happy with is by going Levi Ashcroft down and Ryan Marek up, which I do not like doing at all. So I'll be doing that. And hopefully Hugh Boxall's named and I can bank a bit of extra cash for next week. But Ned Long, I'm keen on that play because I can't get the upgrade that I really want. So cool. That'll do us for the
just
episode.
On that.
Yeah.
Bales, sorry, just Lockie Cowan for Carlton is a test, even though last week he was a month away. I'm not sure what magical powers or what magical potion he had during the week, but that could affect the Carroll move. Just a heads up.
Yeah, no, very, very good shout. So, doesn't have to, as I said, I hope Hugh Boxall's name, because that's who I really want, because I think he could be a pretty good scoring rookie. And I think if he comes in, I don't think he'll actually be the sub, to be honest. So, but yeah, good shout there. But that'll do us, and that will wrap us up. But as It's Edge said before, make sure you do smash a like on the video. We got near 50, so if we can get that to 100, that'd be fantastic. And if people watching on the replay, make sure you do smash like on the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're past 3,700 the other day, so it doesn't feel like that long ago we passed 3K, so we're really roaring towards 4K. So if you guys can help us out, just need 300 of you if you haven't done it already, to hit subscribe, and then we can join the 4K club. That'd be fantastic. So make sure you guys do that. But Jordox, mate, thank you for jumping on, mate. Where can the people find you? Where can they find the Finders Keepers pod? And also a plug for the AFL subs page.
Yep. On X at Jordox 2020. And I did start my own podcast this year. If you play in a keeper league or a dynasty league and you want to hear about some strategy and some pointers on that, go and find Finders Keepers is the name of the pod. And on X, it's at FindKeepAFL. And give it a listen. Let me know what you think. And if you do like it, tell your friends. And then the AFL subs page is still going great. Gangbusters. Feel like we're pretty important, especially some of the sub announcements the last weekend. It's funny when you drop it and then you get all these retweets. It's a serious one, and the trainer one was certainly that. If you haven't heard of the subs page, find at AFL subs on X. Turn the notifications on, and then every weekend, an hour before the bounce of each game, you'll get a notification straight to your device with the subs and any late changes. And the best part of that is we don't post anything else other than the subs. So you won't get notifications for, this page said this or like this, whatnot. What else am I plugging? I was on Coach's Panel this week. Have a listen to that as well. I've been a busy boy this week.
Oh, mate, love it. No, make sure you go and listen to all the good work that Jordox is doing. Guesty, where can the people find you, and any closing thoughts?
Tim Guest AU. Enjoy another long weekend.
Yep, exactly. Another long weekend there as well. And you can find me at BAILSDT, and you can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans. And as I said, like and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't. And if you are listening back to the podcast and could leave us a 5-star rating and review, that would be very, very much appreciated there. And yeah, obviously be back. Obviously, as I said, not sure what we're doing pre-lockout chat yet. Obviously, it is my birthday on Friday, so not sure if I'm doing a pod when there's 2 games of footy. What time we're doing it, I'm not sure. So we'll see how it goes.
I
We might be able to
I
put one in.
reckon you can have the day off, Bales. I reckon we'll all allow it. It's your birthday. You do so much. You record every single day. I reckon if you want to take the day off, everyone would agree. Go for it.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. I'll let people know if we get maybe a sneaky one before the game or not. But depends what I'm doing on Friday. But yeah, if we don't, good luck this week. I'll be back tomorrow for trade talk and captains on Thursday and other content. But until the next time, good luck this week. And yeah, we'll chat to you guys soon. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.